All right, we're on. I've been informed by the cable lady that we're on live or whatever. We're being recorded. So being 7:04, I'm actually 7:03. We can start the December 18th meeting of the Sutton Historical Commission. We have 4 members present, which is enough to start the meeting. We're waiting for one more member to arrive if possible. Our first thing on tonight's agenda is approval of minutes, and we have a lot of minutes that have been submitted. Mr. Clerk has been diligent in writing these. He has submitted April 24th, 2018, August 28th, 2018, and October 23rd, 2018. Those minutes have been submitted, reviewed by members, as well as minutes that I submitted tonight from our last meeting in November. So there is actually 4 sets of minutes. Have all the commission members reviewed those minutes? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can we have a motion on the floor for approval of those minutes, all 4 if possible?
I'm going to have to abstain from 3 of them
Oh, okay.
because I was not present.
I know, Rochelle, you were present at those. Let's see, let me just
The
make
only
sure.
one was the 23rd, I was not here.
And that would be me, Mark, and Wally was not. So technically, the 23rd, we cannot.
I wasn't here in April, August, or
No, but
October.
Rochelle was.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yep, she was. And so wasn't Mark. So we're okay, we're good to go. And you were here at the last meeting, correct?
Yeah.
So, cannot vote on October's. We'll revote, reread, if that's even a word for that, at our next commission meeting. So a motion would be for the 3 months of minutes, April, August, and November. If someone wants to make that motion. I think, Rochelle, you would probably,
Motion to accept these minutes.
and that's on the floor.
Second.
Wally seconds that motion. All those in favor of motion on the floor to grant all minutes except October 18th?
I wasn't here in April.
But you can second it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm going to abstain.
That's fine. You can just abstain from the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Hearing any? None? Okay, those passed. Boy, that was the most difficult motion.
Sorry.
I'll stay more up to date.
By the way, this is my 20th year, okay? So
Congratulations.
you'd think I'd get it by now. I'm gonna ask for a raise. Okay. Next one, being known in the room for a public forum or a public hearing. We'll skip 2 and 3 and go right to 4, which is open discussion and updates. So, I have, where's my little list of goodies here? I can find it. I can't find my little list. So why don't we go right to the minutes of last month, and I can touch on a few things. Where are they? Jeez, did mine disappear? Oh, here they are, right here, right in front of me. Okay, so open for discussion tonight. I just wanted to bring up one thing. There was a an email sent, and I'm gonna just read a reply in a second. I know that's probably not appropriate, but I don't have the printer to connect it with, to print it out from today. I was contacted by Jen Hager about a possible Armsby Road development over 55. And in a nutshell, the developer and the group was looking for possible names of that new road, and if we could come up with anything. So I had one response from Joyce Smith, and in a nutshell, let's see. Newell Wedge House was located in that area, and I don't know where that is. Actually, I'll read the Pauline Johnson, who was an Armsby Wedge descendant and lived in a Newell Wedge house From historical things gotten from the attic of the Armsby house, which was Francis King's brother of Pauline, the Enchanted Passage house, the former Valancourts, was built by Joshua Armsby in 1896. It was once used for a home for a private school which was still on the property as of 1954. Not the barn that's gone now on the south side of the road, but the house was called the Wedgwood or the Newell Wedge House. And in 1954, the direction of the house for the house tour said, "It is the easiest of all the houses to reach on Wedgwood Road, just off of Route 146. So I think Wedgwood was a possible project name or road name. Thank you for bearing with me on that. Was there any other discussion about that, or anyone had any input about that? Mark, were you aware of that project?
I saw the email from Jen, but
Okay, good. Okay, I just assumed that you guys were on it, but now that I thought of it, you might not all been.
Well, I think, if I remember the original email, I think she was looking for 4 or 5 names,
Yes.
because
Was it 5
this
streets
is a
already there?
number of units. This is not just, 10 or 12. There'll be, I haven't looked at them lately. I think we're talking 50 to 70.
Units?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's a
both
sig-
sides of the street.
Both sides of the
So
street,
more than
from
one
the
street.
cemetery on down.
And just for the record, I'm 55 in 8 months. So go ahead.
you're young.
So apparently we have a candidate already. It's not even built.
I think Downer Road would be a nice name, but that's okay, and I could live in the end unit there. But. So what was your thought then, Wally? Did you have any other thoughts of names?
No, I've had, unfortunately, too much work and a couple of other things, and I haven't really researched the other names. And I apologize. I meant to do that, but
No, that's fine.
I haven't done it.
I mean, Newell could be one too.
I would think that,
That would be
yeah.
one.
that would be one.
Wedgwood could be another one.
Pardon me?
Wedgwood could be
Yeah.
another.
Wedgwood,
There's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
5 streets that they're
Yeah.
thinking of. So there's several other possibilities. can get
Bear
there.
with me for a sec. There was another name I saw in there too. I don't know. I thought maybe this is a little corny around Christmas, but Enchanted Passage sounded like a nice end street. Welcome to Enchanted Passage. No?
We
Enchanted
could have
Road.
Oh, yeah.
Passage Road.
Passage
But
Road.
also they're planning a park eventually, so that could be an enchanted passage.
That's right, yeah, there'll have to be.
Also,
there has to be so
Newell
much
Wedge
range.
was a name in the house too. Wedge.
Yeah.
So maybe Wedge Road.
Yeah,
I'm just pulling out of the hat here.
well, Rochelle and I discussed this, and we were thinking it would be good to name maybe some of the streets if we could over, from the past, people that lived in that general area. I don't mean specifically on Armsby Road, right? But
Right,
in
but
that
people that
general-
contributed to the town in that area
in that
would,
area, families, and I have not looked in their history books to.
some
come up
comment
with-
that was
Is that a
made to me.
Pearson Road?
I don't
I
know.
don't think so.
Hey, just a thought. That might be better than a certificate.
Better than Marshal of the Parade, huh?
Well, he can be both. You can marshal him right to his new road.
From a family member, they're saying he's very happy to be chosen and asked.
Yeah.
Imagine that. As the marshal,
Yes.
they deserve it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, they got seniority.
definitely. Yeah.
That's a positive, not a negative.
Mm-hmm. And just for the members at home that don't know what we're talking about the Pearson family, who has been the same family of descendants living in one house for over 100 years.
Mhm.
In West Sutton.
Yeah.
I wonder if they still have a mortgage. Maybe that was inappropriate, but I know I will.
Me too.
The way things are going. I'm on the 60-year plan myself.
Yeah. Make
But-
another renovation,
Can
you get a
we,
mortgage the house again.
But that might be a good recommendation there. Maybe Pearson Road. Since we have a Century Farm Road,
Mm-hmm.
not too far.
Yeah, I
So just something, it's in
put it
the
out there.
parochial stage right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still,
Wally, do you mind mentioning these to Jen?
no, I'm gonna see her tomorrow.
That's what I figured, and I've had a very busy week at work, and I don't have any time off other than Christmas Eve. So it's not like I
Yeah.
will be coming
Yeah,
to
no,
the town
that's fine.
hall. But if you understand the roads, the names that we used, some were from Joyce, the Pearsons, yep, you got them written down.
Yep, I got them here.
Yeah, and, even, what was that other one?
Go with that passage?
Yeah, some
Enchanted Passage.
Enchanted Passage. I just love that.
Have you been in there?
Cable girls like this guy's crazy. I haven't been there, no.
Just, I'm sure Jen will, or the dispatchers will, but if we have Wedge Road and Wedgewood,
Yeah.
don't
Yes.
put them next to each other.
Yes,
No,
yeah, that's a good point.
that's true.
I don't-
Well said, Mr. Clerk.
Dispatcher nightmare.
No, we don't want that.
And that's why you're clerk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although the whole town's supposed to be GPS, so you're not supposed to have that problem, but given our cell phone service, it remains to be seen.
They have me listed as East Douglas, so,
Yeah,
so
okay.
much for GPS.
So that's where you pay your taxes, huh?
And so some of that tails on last month's discussion about, giving them, the family a plaque or a certificate of recognition, but maybe this is an alternative, and now knowing that the marshal was a success for them, if that happens, hopefully it does. I think we're on a good road. I mean, I think we shrunk down what we need to do, so, and we have some time.
Yep.
Any other open discussion about that topic? Okay. So unfortunately, Donna's not here, but she was going to submit some styles. I don't have it on my computer. It's probably 9 computers ago, of the certificates issued from the Sutton Center for Manchog's Historic District. And I know I had discussed it with Jen, and it was, an idea, but it's only at an idea phase. So I really don't think we can talk too much more about that tonight without Donna. Unless you guys have any new info. All right, hopefully they're,
Because I'm not on that district.
you'll get one. You'll get a special one. We'll make sure of that. All right. Also, we discussed last month about Tricentennial Park and that there was, maintenance issues down there, and that's something that Jen Hager's spearheads. But at this point, we tabled that till next spring because they're still working on the bridge. You have tractor trailers everywhere. I mean, it's just non-conducive to work anywhere down there and get something done. But you said you had some new information, Wally, about that tonight?
Yes, I've got pictures I can show you of the bridge. The Tricentennial Park is entirely roped off. They have the largest crane in New England down there to put these.
Still there.
Still there. I
Saw it
don't know if you
tonight.
guys have been down there.
Them are nice, all right. Yep.
Yeah, but, well, that's from the top of the hill, Chase Road, or
Okay.
Blackstone Street looking down. And I don't know how to project these to the general populace. That was today, okay? That's the beam. The beam was 120 feet. And there's 5 of them in there.
Is it really?
Yeah, well, you can, yeah, if you count them, I counted them, but it's,
120 feet.
yeah, that's why they have this big humongous crane. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
structure.
A lot of structure, and you can see from a little
The
bit here
dam.
on the side, the dam is not affected.
Mhm.
This is the, Tricentennial Park. You can't get close to this thing for safety reasons. I mean, it's like even the tractor trailers going in and out of the food company are having difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
The, oh, yeah.
So do they anticipate a really heavy
I don't know.
trucks
It
and
looks
stuff
like that.
going over that?
There's more structure there than there is on the 495 bridges, but
no, but it was at the end of its 100-year life.
mhm.
And they did have trucks not trucks will go up there,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing what's up there. And
Right.
then once
Once you're there, you can't turn around, you gotta
can't
go
turn
over
around.
it, yeah.
there were all kinds of issues. This is what this thing looks like.
It's huge.
So there's the park, right next to the porta potty there. Look at that.
That's a big crane.
Yeah.
Wonder what that costs a day.
Wow. But it's, I mean, you can, I can't tell distance, but to put it in another way, they have 7 flatbeds behind that beam. That's just to carry this crane around.
Well, I was
Because it all
wondering,
comes out in sections.
yeah.
Can you imagine?
What's odd is it looks like the beams are heavier than the crane.
Well, it looks that way, but I guess they got it figured out. That was what it was. That was it on Saturday, Friday or Saturday. You see where they only have 2 of them in?
Yep.
And Pat went by there today or yesterday, and they were putting in the other 3. So I assume the crane will be gone in a couple of days. And that was my first picture. I didn't get too close. Yeah.
All right.
So I'd say we're pretty much off limits until they finish their work. I think anything to be done will just be cause for more confusion down there.
Yeah, I think we tabled it till spring, till the bridge is completed. At least to just go down there and make an assessment and. All right. Any other new business? I mean, yeah, open discussion, old business. I think I kind of merged those with the clerk, just so you know. Sorry. So, any input on either, old or open? All right. There is some new business. Well, actually, there really isn't. I'm gonna put that on the announcements and correspondence. Any new business that we can address tonight?
I've got something I don't think necessarily affects us specifically, but there's new information I just found that certainly is historical, involves the town of Sutton. And I had a conversation with a gentleman from Connecticut who's going to be writing a book about Rufus Putnam. And to make it even more interesting, he reminded me that David McCulloch is coming out with a book called The Pioneers in May of 19 about Rufus Putnam and the people that settled the Northwest Territory. So that certainly will be what I call a big deal for the town of Sutton. Apparently that book, most of the emphasis is going to be on Ohio, which would be his legacy
Right.
probably. And this fellow's name is Bob Hubbard, and his book will be coming out probably in 2020. And it sounds like it's a long way away, but there's a copious amount of research that goes into these things. And, you can't start one month and be done the next. So I've had 2 over an hour-long conversations with him. Bob, he's coming up here after the holidays to go checking around. Send him pictures of, which I find this fascinating, in that he wanted to know where the monument was, so he's on Google Maps and I'm showing him where the monument really is, and I went up and took pictures the next day, and he wanted to know, he said, well, are there any houses from that era? Because he knew the house wasn't there. I said, well, I don't know. I said, we have a bunch of 17XX houses, but I can't remember, I don't even know what year.
Mine's 1719.
Oh, great, okay, good.
I'm a first settlement,
We're the
first period
6th one
house.
now I found, just so you know.
From how early?
It'd be 1730s or
Yeah.
earlier. So I turn around the top of Town Farm Road. There's a stop sign. I look across the street. There's a house that says 1730.
Yeah.
So I took a picture of it and sent it down to him. And I said, from that house, you can see the trees. So obviously they were neighbors. There wasn't anything else around back
Yeah.
then, So I just think it's fascinating, and his emphasis is going to be more on, we'll say, the childhood. And one thing he did mention, which again, personally, I had never thought of, the cannon went over to the Dorchester Heights. Well, the problem was it was in the winter, and it was icy, and they really couldn't shoot the cannon because the recoil would send the cannon sliding off the hill. Right. Or as I put it, the recoil might go further than the projectile, you know? And Rufus got George Washington's attention by coming up with jury rigging something or other so the cannon
Wouldn't slide.
wouldn't slide. And not bad for a self-taught person. He said his stepfather would not let him go to school. You know, it's a
Little did the
fascinating-
regulars know that there was only enough shot for each cannon for 1 or 2 shots. They couldn't have, but they just bluffed them out of the harbor and out of the city.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's true. They only had 1 shot or
So
2
your
shots.
first shot, I forget what you call it, just to get the range,
Yeah.
that would have been it.
That would have been it. They didn't have enough, so they bluffed the English army out of the whole Boston.
So I just thought this is, you know, in the coming months, this is going to be very positive publicity, and
Okay.
I'm sure we can get Bob Hubbard up here to give a talk. And by the way, he's already written 1 book on Israel Putnam.
Oh,
And in talking with one of the residents today, I found out she's the house which was built in 1724, she is the first non-Putnam descendant to live in there.
wow.
Not to live in there, to own it. Let me rephrase that, okay? And
Oh, yeah.
That's 3rd century
Yeah,
farm.
yeah, right, right.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing.
And that's what, 3 years, probably 4, I don't know.
Well, if they need any assistance from the commission, and I'm sure that the Historical Society, as an independent nonprofit, may have information that can assist with him as well. So keep us posted on that. That's good.
Okay.
Nice. Any other new business? Okay, announcements. First one is Mass Historic Local Preservation Newsletter. There's a projects fund for round 25. We decided that last meeting that Sutton wouldn't be a good candidate, so we're not gonna apply for that. We'll skip a year or 2. Next thing is the Mass Preservation Awards for 2019. They're underway. They're presented annually to preserve projects or individuals that may have displayed an outstanding commitment to historic preservation in Massachusetts. You can go online, or I have an extra newsletter here you're welcome to grab, and you can do your nominating from there. There's also another thing coming up. Questions from local historic commissions, historic district commissions, and general public about historic preservation and the building code are frequently received by the Mass Historic Commission. MHC is investigating the practicality of a formal FAQ, or frequently asked question brochure or guide, that could summarize the role of the building code in historic rehabilitation, answering typical questions raised by local commission members, and provide case studies from across the state that demonstrate how local historic preservation and the building code can work together. In such a document, we would like to hear what questions you would like to have answered, or what would you like to see included. So you can go online and speak of that. And there's also, let's see, preservation plan for Mass Historic Preservation, 2018 to 2022 can be found on the website of MHC. And some reminder dates in February is Mass Historic Commission's 2019 Preservation Award nominees. They're going to be due that day. And then on March 22nd, Massachusetts Preservation Projects Fund Round 25 applications are due, which we will not participate in. Mr. Clerk, if you need a copy of that, just in case. I rambled a lot off. I don't think you really have to go too wild on that. Another is dun, dun, dun. February. You know what happens every February?
Annual report.
Yes. All departments and commissions and boards. The annual report is, once again, it's time for the annual report to be printed. Please have yours submitted via email by February 4th. And the report covers a time frame of July 2017, actually July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018. And it needs to contain all list of all committee members, their title, total number of meetings the committee had during the fiscal year, number of meetings each member attended, and any monies collected. Also, Now, they only had to send one card, but they sent 5. All with different names. That ended up in our box, though I'm on a couple of them. Anyway. We already talked about the 41st Annual Preservation Awards. So that's online right now. You can vote if you want. There's some cards here if you want to go online. And round 25 of the MPPF grant project program. And we've decided that Sutton is not eligible. Well, wouldn't be reasonable and prudent for us to apply for two projects in a row. So I have no other announcements or correspondence. Do any other members? All right. With that said, a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Motion's on the floor to adjourn and been seconded by Wally. I think we can adjourn, being, hold on, Miss Cable, 7:30 exactly.